Hello, welcome back. And I've moving on from last time. We were talking about what were we talking about? Oh yeah, when to give up on stuff. But quite the opposite is when you're working on a big thing. When is it appropriate to reveal the details on it? When do you announce it properly? And this is something I'm dealing with very personally right now, as you know, because I keep soft plugging this little game that I'm working on. It's called Willpower. I've announced the name, but I've explained some of the mechanics and things, but I haven't actually explained the premise.
No, I know the premise because we've talked on the back room about that kind of stuff, but nobody else knows the premise.
So I'm wrestling with the dilemma right now as to, I'm talking about this thing to my audience a lot, and they still don't know exactly what it is, and I'm wondering when is the right time to do so, and it may not be for another few months. That's kind of mean.
Is it though? I mean, right now, when you look at your game development videos, it just feels like, a normal kind of game where you walk around and you collect things and then you do the boss monsters and stuff. But when you told me about the core mechanic, I went, oh, now I get what makes this game unique.
Yeah.
So your audience is completely in the dark about this, but when to do the reveal? That is a good question because...
I probably just think it's a generic dungeon crawler right now.
Yeah, once you reveal it, I want to play it now. But if it's not released yet, then I just, the enthusiasm, it's going to taper off while people are waiting.
That's the thing. I think it needs to at least be working. Whether it's just for me building levels or there's some sort of early access, I'm not sure. But it has to have something fundamental there. At the moment, I haven't needed to talk about anything because, hey, animation channel, I'm making animation for it. Let's just talk about that. Here's some characters, here's some movement, here's some scenery done. But I am itching. I want to talk about it. But we talked last week that that's unhealthy because my enthusiasm will go away.
Yeah, if you talk about it, your enthusiasm is going to go away. Which is funny because the series that I'm trying to work on, I've wanted to do a series for a long time. At this point, I know how to pull it off where it's not going to be I make 2 episodes and the rest of it doesn't happen. I know technically how to do that as a 1-person, maybe 2-person team. I've got a little group of friends who are going to help me with the writing and stuff, but... and I want it to happen so bad, but if I talk about it too much, I'm gonna lose my enthusiasm and it won't happen.
Do you feel like, how long before release would you want to be talking about, revealing it?
I would say that in my case, I would have 1 episode finished. Done. Just 1 episode ready to go. It's not posted anywhere, but that's the point where I know it's gonna happen. And I'm free to talk about it because I've got all the stuff done for it. I just need to grind on the episodes. And I'm good at grinding. I'll go level my Pokemon up to level 100, no problem.
Oh, jeez. Man, I'm terrible at that. Okay, so you want to reveal it with a bang. Like, here's a trailer. Here's the first episode.
To reveal it publicly, yeah, a trailer. If possible, the trailer would pull clips from maybe the first 5 episodes or so. The really good stuff that gets people excited for the whole series. But at the very least, yeah, 1 episode would be done. I'd probably at that point start talking about it more on live streams, kind of reveal what some of the characters are. But up until there's stuff actually done for it, I got to keep my mouth shut.
It's going to make this a very difficult episode to rip another 15 minutes worth of content out of, trying to talk about things that you can't talk about.
Oh, yeah. No, you know us. We'll keep going on. We'll find something else to talk about, about 7 minutes in.
Most likely. There's the production side of things. Do you feel comfortable talking about any of that? Like how you've assembled some writers, you're figuring out your methods?
I could talk about that stuff because as I've progressed as, I guess, both a business person and an artist, I'm really interested now in taking critique on my stuff, or not even critique, but just I need someone else to be looking at things, which makes it hard, and that's why we're kind of talking about this, because it means I need to have at least one other person that I've explained all of the story to. Like, they know, they're spoiled on everything. They know how the world works, they know what's messed up with the characters, what they have to fix. They know some of the horrible things that are happening in the background that the regular viewers aren't even going to know.
Do they have a degree of influence to it as well? They've suggested things that have now gone in?
Yes. So they've suggested things that go in, and it's kind of hard because you got to spoil it for your development team. Otherwise, they don't really know where you're trying to go, and they can't give you suggestions on like, oh, well, what if you had a character that showed the consequences of if things went wrong? And I said, oh, I don't have that. I should make one. I should make a character that fails on purpose. I mean, not trying to fail, but they fail so that you can see what happens if the main character doesn't succeed.
Are we allowed to hear what the format will be, if this is something that is plausible for you to pull off on your own in between all of your many other projects?
So the idea with this is that it's a series, but instead of having full animation, it'll be more, I guess, kind of storybook. It'd be like if you ever played maybe an RPG where the character portraits come up, or like the full body character portraits.
Oh, yeah.
Come up and they have little dialogue boxes and stuff. So like that, with very limited animation, and in that way, I can just make episodes. I just need my voice actors and the art, and away we go.
Yeah, that'd be great. There's something I wanted to do that was sort of similar a couple of years ago. Not quite so simple, though, because it obviously never happened. But the sort of like e-comic where it's a series of stills with a little bit of movement, like the waves are moving, the coat's blowing in the breeze, that sort of thing. That was going to be a survival horror.
Ooh, that's a fun genre.
I thought it would be quite ominous to be able to pull that off, but yeah, there was only like a few months window where it could have been plausible, and that ship has most certainly sailed now.
Okay, yeah.
It's that sort of pipe dream where if anything ever becomes successful enough to like hire a person, then maybe.
It's so hard to get to that point. And even when you do get to that point, you keep convincing yourself, well, another person complicates things so much, and I lose the creative control. You don't really tell yourself that. You're just kind of vaguely aware at any time that introducing more people means things are going to change, outside of your control. So
is that something you've had to deal with?
I wish it was a problem. That'd be a good thing. It's just, for me, it's a matter of giving up creative control.
Right. But have you had to like hire mini teams to work on stuff with you?
Oh yeah. Even for the multi-animator project I organized, I gave everyone the option to have some ad revenue from that if they wanted.
Oh yeah.
So that was dealing with finances for 32 other people. Well, not all of them opted in, but...
What's the breakdown for that? Ad revenue divided by 32 for one video. They'd be like, oh, you can get a 50-cent ice cream cone.
Exactly. So when I posted the casting call for people to apply, I said, if the video makes over a certain amount, what did I say, $100? Something like that? Then I'll split the ad revenue 32 ways.
Yeah.
And you can have your 32nd of the ad revenue. So I said, it may end up only being $1. It may end up being $10. Because even when you're thinking 32 people, $10, that means that video had to have made $320, which is a lot in YouTube world. But you don't know, because if something goes viral, it will make a couple $1,000s.
Yeah, that's true. Still well below minimum wage, but...
Yeah, I mean, the artists didn't get paid for the amount of time they would have put in to create each clip. But they did get a good amount of payment. I was happy.
No, it's a volunteer project.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, volunteer project. But it was definitely not fair to monetize something like that without paying the artists. So I'm like, yeah, you get your fair share of the ad revenue between all of us, definitely.
Indeed, just on principle.
I guess I've seen people who take advantage of volunteers, and I'm not a fan of that. So anytime that something is going to turn a profit, I guess, the artists need to be paid for it. So that was my thinking there. And it turned out really well, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really fun way to engage a community of people. I've always wanted to do like a crowd-built thing. I hadn't even heard the term map until you came along. Did you coin the term?
Oh my goodness, no, it's been around for a long time. Yeah, I just wanted to throw in that hopefully anyone who participated in that thought it was a good idea, because I want to do the same thing and I want to share the revenue again. I think that was really good. But no, didn't coin that term. And community-built projects are so much fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what's it like to organize one of those?
Oh, it's a pain in the butt, and I want to die. It's totally worth it. It was totally worth it. But it's one of those things where the whole time through you're thinking, oh my gosh, this isn't worth it.
Well, tell me more. What's the journey like?
So the thing about a channel like mine is I have so many people watching not every video, but for something like that, you get maybe, I don't know how many applications I had, 1,000 applications
Wow.
at least. If you've hosted a map or if you've participated in one, that is a lot of people's animations to look at and think, is this person suited to participate in my project? And what you're looking for is not so much the person's quality of art, because what's most important to you as an organizer is, will they finish it within the deadline? Are they going to flake out on you? So in this case, I was looking for a variety of skill levels, a variety of types of animation, and also the ability to complete it. So, and even in the end, there were still people who couldn't finish their parts, and I had to go in and get emergency backup people to come in and fill for them.
Right. So how often do people drop out? How many did you get in the last one?
I think I had 2 people who completely didn't do anything. So what happened was, I think a month before the deadline, I had to go out and ask 2 people to fill in. I said, hey, these people didn't finish their spots. I thought your stuff was really good, but I couldn't fit you in before. Do you want to come in and do this part? And of course, it wasn't necessarily a part that they had chosen, because I have no idea who's going to flake out. So I had to say, this is the specific part that I need someone to do. Are you willing to do it? And both the people I asked said yes. They did their parts in a month, which is crazy. And it was good. Everything got done. So you just have to be prepared for that kind of stuff.
Cool. How long do they usually get?
It wasn't that long. 2 months, 2 or 3 months, I think. Because if you make it too long, then people definitely will procrastinate until the last minute.
Yeah. To complete how much footage, by the way?
Each person's part was maybe 3 to 6 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
But we're talking about animation, so, it's still a lot of work.
Oh, yeah, especially if it's something that they're completing as a side thing.
Yeah, which some people hadn't ever been in a multi-animator project before, so they were really excited but hadn't done it before. They got their stuff done almost right away.
That's awesome. It's great you're able to build such a community like that.
Oh yeah, community projects are a lot of fun. I'd say go organize one, but it is a lot of work. You would have to make room for it.
So it'll just organize through a spreadsheet?
Yeah, I had a Google Forms is what I use for that kind of
Google
stuff.
Forms?
You can make a little application and you say, you can do different kinds of things like fill in the blank, multiple choice, radial buttons, and then put your email here so I can contact you, and all of those responses will be collected into a nice organized spreadsheet that you can sort. So that's how I organized all that stuff.
That's great. Man, you got a good system down. That's cool that's all able to get managed on a system so simple. I'm used to ones that are like very, 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 very elaborate because it's, because each one of those 32 animators would have 20 shots a piece across 40 episodes. And managing that system is a full-time job for sure, for a few people. Just making sure that everything's getting in on time and can be checked by the right people. It can be all slotted together so that it can have notes and go back to them again.
Yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit more about organizing it on that end, because normally, in this case, it was each animator only had 1 shot. So how do you manage each animator has 20 shots? Because then you got to keep track of the sub layers.
There's a bunch of ways to do it. Every studio I've been to does it differently as well, because you sort of improvise and learn your own systems and they get baked into sort of the culture of the place. But there's some dedicated softwares that do it. Like Toon Boom just released their own one a year ago called Producer. And they're sort of like a spreadsheet database thing, but they're way more elaborate than that because they hold the whole life cycle of one shot, all the assets in it, all the characters in it, and it sort of acts as the spine of the whole thing. And it's they're sort of built upon a huge system of filters to be able to filter it down in different ways. And in some cases, it will just be a master view of an episode where you can see, who's in charge of each shot from that direction. Or you can go the approach of everyone has their own personalized page where it's just their name and then all of the shots that are their responsibility. Probably the cleanest method I've seen was actually just using a Google spreadsheet and decorating it in such a way that it was just sort of color-coded. There was just the list of shots, who's responsible for it, and is it done? And then there'd be other people working behind the scenes to make sure that every shot has all the pieces that is required for it and stuff like that. So some of the data may be missing from a spreadsheet like that, but it is simpler to understand. So I think it's that ease of use versus flexibility trade-off.
That's interesting you mentioned that it was a Google spreadsheet, because I've been a part of 2 other very large projects. One of them was supposed to be creating a movie. They never finished. But it was the same thing. They had it organized in a Google spreadsheet. And the other project that I did animation for is the same idea. It had the list of shots, and it had which animator, whether it had been reviewed and edited and it finalized. So you could go down the list and see which animator, and it was all color coded and stuff. Just a sort of simple way.
I think spreadsheets are often favored because they're easy to improvise. If you find yourself in a snag being like, oh, we need to organize this problem that appeared this morning. What do we do? Then you just make a spreadsheet then and there that is appropriate for that situation. And usually it ends up being quite a bit of a mess where there's just tons of them. Like every department just makes their own in the moment.
Oh, no.
And then, that means the data is only accessible to that department if they don't tell everyone else. I don't know if every place is like that, but it seems to be a common thread through just everywhere I've seen, at least.
What are we initially talking about? Oh, yeah, when to do the reveal. When are we going to reveal what the next episode's going to be?
I think next time we should talk about dealing with new softwares that you haven't dealt with before. There's a bit of a change of pace.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about some animation software.
Cool.
Do some more animation-focused topics. We talked about animation today.
Indeed.
We're good. Get in the required animation talking every episode.
Oh, yeah. That's how we do. Anyway, that's enough for now. Thanks for coming by. Bye.
Bye!